It starts on a morning like any other. You wake up slowly, rubbing the sleep from your eyes. The sun peeks through the blinds, and the scent of coffee drifts through the house. You swing your legs over the edge of the bed, but something feels off. Your legs feel heavy, not tired, not sore, just uncooperative, as if they forgot how to follow your mind's instructions. You stand up, and there's a faint tremble you didn't notice before. One hand reaches for the wall just in case. You take a few steps, and the stairs ahead seem steeper than usual. You pause halfway down, gripping the rail, breathing harder than you should. It's not laziness. It's not age catching up like they always say. No, this is something else. This is what it feels like when your legs quietly start giving up on you. And here's the part no one warned us about. Every 11 seconds, an older adult is hospitalized due to a fall. That's not just a number. That's someone's father, someone's sister, someone who once danced, who once ran, who now fears every step. And the worst part, it doesn't happen all at once. Leg weakness sneaks in quietly, like a whisper you ignore, until one day it shouts. But here's the truth. No one told us loud enough. You do not have to accept weak legs as a part of aging. Not today. Not ever. Because the strength in your legs is the foundation of your independence. And just like any foundation, it can be rebuilt. Not with pills, not with expensive therapy, but with simple healing choices that begin right in your kitchen. Stay with me. The very first food I'm going to tell you about doesn't just rebuild muscle. It helps you sleep deeper, move easier, and even lift your mood all within a few weeks. And the best part, you've probably walked past it at the store 100 times. But before we go there, tell us where you're watching from. How old are you? Leave us a comment. You inspire us more than you know. And if you've felt this too, not just the weakness, but the worry, the wondering, then stay with us. Subscribe to Senior Fit, where growing older doesn't mean growing smaller. It means growing wiser, stronger, and still moving forward. Let's begin. It's called sarcopenia, a word that sounds clinical distant, but its impact is deeply personal. It's the silent erosion of muscle that begins around age 50, and unless you actively stop it, it doesn't pause. It doesn't ask for permission. It simply takes. 1 ounce of strength here, 1 second off your balance there, until standing from a chair feels harder, until walking uphill feels heavier, until your legs no longer feel like your legs. Sarcopenia doesn't show up overnight. It disguises itself as just getting older. But that's a lie too many of us believe. Until we're left reaching for a cane or hesitating before every step. I've worked with hundreds of older adults across the years, different backgrounds, different stories, but the same look in their eyes, that quiet fear of losing independence. And I tell them the same thing I'll tell you now. You are not powerless. You are not broken. You are simply missing the right tools. And food, real nourishing food, is one of the most powerful tools we have. Not supplements, not injections, not magic potions sold in fancy bottles. Just everyday humble ingredients that give your muscles the fuel they need to come back to life. Because here's what many people forget. Muscle is alive. It listens. It adapts. It responds. Feed it right and it gets stronger. Ignore it and it quietly wastes away. So if your legs have been sending you signals, feeling heavier, stiffer, or more unstable, then it's time to listen and answer. Because your body hasn't given up on you. It's just been waiting for you to give it what it needs. And that's where this journey begins. With 4 simple foods, not exotic superfoods, not expensive fixes, but natural, affordable, senior-friendly powerhouses that work with your body, not against it. Let me show you how they help people just like you. Her name was Carmen, 74 years old, A mother, a grandmother, a woman who once loved walking in the park every afternoon. But that was before the fall. It happened in her kitchen on a rainy afternoon. She had just turned to get a glass of water when her foot slipped slightly on the tile. Just enough to lose her balance, just enough to make her world tilt. She didn't break any bones, but she lost something else, her confidence. After that day, she moved slower, held on to walls, relied on a cane just in case. But aside, she was scared that the next fall might leave her unable to live alone or walk at all. When she came to see me, she didn't ask for a miracle. She simply said, "I want to feel like myself again." And we started small. We didn't talk about surgery. We didn't go straight to physical therapy. We talked about her plate. 3 months later, Carmen was back in the park, walking without her cane, with her shoulders up, her breath steady, and a light in her eyes that hadn't been there for years. And she's not the only one. There's Don Luis, 80 years old. For months he needed help just to get out of his chair. His legs would tremble with effort. His knees would groan in protest. "I feel like my body's giving up," he told me once. But the truth was, his body wasn't giving up. It was starving for the right kind of support. We adjusted his meals, made small, consistent changes, and within weeks, he noticed something powerful. His legs felt steadier. He could rise without holding on to the table. He even started using the stairs again on his own. Not because of expensive treatments, but because of nourishment. Real stories, real recovery. And now it's your turn. What made the difference for Carmen and Don Luis? Let me show you the very first food they added, a food so simple most of us overlook it. But inside those tiny pieces is a powerhouse for aging muscles. It's small, round, beige. It doesn't sizzle in commercials. It's not trendy on magazine covers. But it holds something far more valuable: the quiet power to rebuild strength. I'm talking about chickpeas. The simple, overlooked legume that became the turning point for dozens of my older patients. In many kitchens, they sit forgotten in the pantry. Dry, ordinary, unassuming. But inside each one is a bundle of plant protein, magnesium, iron, and vitamin B6. Exactly what aging muscles crave. You see, after age 50, we lose muscle faster than we build it. This loss, sarcopenia, doesn't just weaken your legs. It unbalances you, makes daily tasks harder, and opens the door to falls, injuries, and loss of independence. But chickpeas slow that clock. They help maintain the muscle you have and support the rebuilding of the strength you've lost. And it's not just theory. A 2019 study out of the University of Murcia found that older adults who ate chickpeas 3 times per week lost 22% less muscle mass than those who didn't. That's not a small number. That's the difference between needing help or standing tall on your own. Let me tell you about Ernesto. He was 74, fell down the stairs once, and since then never trusted his legs again. He didn't want painkillers. He wanted power back in his steps. So we started with something simple: half a cup of chickpeas, 3 times a week, in soups, in salads, even roasted as a snack. 5 weeks later, he came back. He walked into my office, no hesitation, no trembling. His voice was steady and his stride was confident. "It feels like I'm coming back," he said. So what's inside these beans? Plant protein. Builds and protects lean muscle. Magnesium and beige. Swaimishorn B6. Reduce cramp, stiffness, and heavy legs. Iron improves energy, oxygen delivery, and focus. These nutrients work together not just to feed your muscles, but to support your nervous system, reduce fatigue, and improve stability. How to start? Try 1/2 cup of cooked chickpeas 2 to 4 times a week. You can toss them into your salad. Add them to vegetable soups. Roast them with olive oil, lemon, and rosemary. Blend into hummus with garlic and tahini. Senior tip: if using dried chickpeas, soak overnight with a pinch of baking soda. This reduces phytic acid, helping your body absorb more iron and makes them gentler on digestion. These aren't just recipes. They're quiet steps towards strength, towards steadier mornings, safer walks, and days free from that hidden fear of falling. It's not just food, it's momentum, and it starts with a bean. If chickpeas are your leg muscles builder, then the next food is their bodyguard, especially when the lights go out and the cramps creep in. You know the feeling. You're finally asleep. And then snap a sharp twist in your calf so intense it pulls you out of rest like a fire alarm. You sit up, eyes half shut, rubbing your legs, stretching, pacing, waiting for the pain to pass. It's not just a nuisance, it steals your sleep. And the next day, it steals your energy, your clarity, your joy. For years, my patient Rosario lived with this. At 68, she was vibrant, always laughing, always moving. But every night around 3 a.m., her calves would cramp up like clenched fists. No hot compress, no massage, no stretching routine seemed to help. She told me I'm not tired because I don't sleep. I don't sleep because my legs scream. So I gave her something unexpected, not another pill, but a snack. Pumpkin seeds, plain unsalted roasted, just a handful in the afternoon. 3 weeks later, the cramps were fewer. By week 6, they had vanished. She looked rested, her mood lifted, and more than anything, she felt in control again. So why pumpkin seeds? These small green gems are magnesium-rich, and magnesium is the master mineral for muscle relaxation. Low magnesium is one of the most overlooked causes of restless legs, muscle cramps, fatigue after light activity, stiff joints, difficulty falling or staying asleep. And unfortunately, many people over 50 are magnesium deficient even if they eat healthy. But pumpkin seeds bring more than just magnesium. They also offer zinc for joint repair, healthy fats to support nerve communication, antioxidants to reduce swelling and protect cartilage. In other words, they calm your muscles, protect your joints, and help your nerves speak more clearly to your legs. A 2020 study from Complutense University in Madrid found that adults over 55 who ate just 30 to 40 grams of pumpkin seeds daily for 6 weeks had a 31% reduction in nighttime leg cramps, plus better balance and stability when doing simple tasks like standing on one foot. And these weren't athletes. They were everyday seniors just like you, fighting for better sleep and getting it one seed at a time. How to use them? Sprinkle over oatmeal or yogurt. Add to salads for crunch. Blend into roasted veggies. Or simply eat them by the spoonful. Senior Fit tip. Eat them between 3 and 5 p.m. That gives your body time to absorb the magnesium and send it where it's needed before bedtime. About 2 tablespoons or 30 grams is all it takes. It's a small handful, but it's packed with power for calmer nights and stronger, steadier mornings. Sometimes it's not the big changes that transform us. It's the little ones done consistently that bring our bodies back to peace. It doesn't grow in the soil. It doesn't bloom in the sun. It dances with the waves. It's not flashy, not fragrant, but for tired knees and aching hips, this quiet sea vegetable carries a kind of wisdom the body remembers. Seaweed. Yes, the same delicate sheets you might find wrapped around sushi. But beneath its paper-thin appearance lies a powerhouse of nutrients that have helped many of my older patients rediscover smoother movement, stronger bones, and lighter steps. Let me take you back to the story of Maria. She was 70, a former yoga instructor. Spirited, graceful, until chronic arthritis in her knees forced her to stop. Each time she stood from the couch, her joints would groan. Climbing stairs became something she feared. When we first sat down, she told me, "I miss feeling fluid. I feel stiff, stuck, and sad." We didn't rush to injections. We turned to the sea. I helped her integrate seaweed into her weekly meals, a few sheets in her rice bowls, some flakes over her salads. Warm miso broths with strips of kombu. It didn't seem like much. But after 2 months, Maria could bend deeper, stretch farther, and she began teaching light yoga classes again. The glow in her eyes said it all. So what makes seaweed so powerful? It's rich in bioavailable calcium, which your bones can absorb more easily than most supplements. It also delivers iodine, which supports metabolism and energy, often overlooked in seniors. But its real magic lies in fucoidan and laminarin, 2 anti-inflammatory compounds found only in certain brown seaweeds. These help protect joint cartilage from wearing down, reduce swelling in stiff knees and fingers, support the production of synovial fluid, that natural lubricant your joints need to move smoothly and pain-free. In 2021, researchers published a study in the American Journal of Community Nutrition showing that women over 60 who ate seaweed 2 to 3 times a week had up to 16% more bone density than those who didn't. That's not a small bump. That's the difference between walking confidently or fearing every uneven step. So how do you start? First, stick with safe edible seaweed varieties like nori, the thin sheets used in sushi; wakame, soft and perfect in soups; kombu, great for broths; sea lettuce, a light leafy addition to salads. Easy ways to add them to your routine. Make a warm bowl of miso soup with seaweed and tofu. Sprinkle seaweed flakes over roasted vegetables or brown rice. Wrap steamed fish or avocado in a sheet of nori for a nutritious snack. Blend a bit into broths with ginger for improved digestion. Senior Fit tip: when making broth with seaweed, add a few slices of fresh ginger and a drop of sesame oil. This improves calcium absorption and helps soothe digestion, especially helpful for older adults with sensitive stomachs. Don't be fooled by its softness. This ocean-grown gift is not just food, it's restoration. For joints that creak, for knees that swell, for bones that feel fragile. Let the sea remind your body of its natural rhythm again. You've likely felt it, that strange numbness in your calves, the tingling in your toes, or the unsettling sensation that your legs are moving. But your brain isn't quite catching up. It's not just poor circulation. It's your nervous system calling for help. And the longer we ignore that call, the more disconnected we feel from our own body, as if our legs are no longer working with us, but against us. But there's a solution: soft, green, and creamy, and surprisingly powerful. Avocado. Yes, this humble fruit isn't just a breakfast trend. It's neurological nourishment, especially for older adults struggling with balanced coordination and nerve-related leg weakness. Let me tell you about Miguel. He was 79, a retired high school teacher. Sharp mind, gentle heart. But one day he told me something that stopped me cold. I don't feel the ground anymore. His feet had begun to go numb, not completely, but just enough to make every walk in the park feel uncertain. And worst of all, it stole his favorite ritual, morning walks with his grandson. We made one simple change. We swapped out his sugary breakfast. In its place, a slice of whole wheat toast, mashed avocado chia seeds, and a dash of lemon. It felt like nothing. But 4 weeks later, he walked into my office, smiling. "I can feel the sidewalk again," he said, and my grandson's footsteps beside mine. So what's behind the magic of avocado? This fruit is rich in monounsaturated fats, especially oleic acid, which strengthen nerve cell membranes and help signals travel faster and more efficiently. Potassium, essential for muscle contraction and nerve signals and hydration. Vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant that protects nerve endings from aging and oxidative stress. These nutrients work together to reconnect the brain to the body. When your nerves are well fed, they send clearer signals, react more quickly, restore that feeling of groundedness beneath your feet. And that can mean fewer stumbles, fewer moments of hesitation, and more confidence in every step you take. In a 2021 study by the American Institute of Nutrition and Geriatrics, older adults who added avocado to their breakfast 4 times a week showed significant improvements in balance, posture, stability in the lower body. And for many of them, it was their first step away from daily fear and back toward physical freedom. How to use avocado. It's versatile filling and easy to prepare. Mash it on whole grain toast with a sprinkle of flax or chia. Dice it into quinoa or leafy green salad. Blend it into a smoothie with banana and almond milk. Use it in wraps or even as a dip with roasted veggies. Senior Fit. Tip-top your avocado toast with crushed walnuts or sunflower seeds. This boosts omega-3s and vitamin E, 2 powerful nutrients that strengthen nerve pathways and reduce overall inflammation. Serving size, 1/3 to 1/2 an avocado, 3 to 4 times a week is more than enough to feel the difference. It may be soft to the touch, but this fruit is a warrior in disguise. It rebuilds communication lines between your nerves and muscles and helps you walk with clarity, with presence, and with peace. Because when you can feel the ground again, you can move forward again. Let's take a moment to breathe. You've come a long way through stories, science, and small everyday foods that hold the power to shape your future. 4 foods, 4 allies, each with a different gift, but all sharing one mission: to give you back control over your legs, your balance, your independence. Because here's the truth. You don't need a complete lifestyle overhaul. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on supplements or treatments. And you definitely don't need to accept weakness as just part of getting older. What you need is to nourish your legs from the inside out. And it starts with what's already in your kitchen. Chickpeas, your muscle builders. They give structure, stability, and power to every step. Pumpkin seeds, your nighttime protectors. They calm the cramps, soothe your nerves, and let your body finally rest. Seaweed, your joint rejuvenators. They restore cartilage, support bone strength, and help you move more freely. Avocado, your nerve defenders. They reconnect your feet to your brain so you feel grounded, sharp, and safe again. One by one, they don't just change meals, they change mornings. The moment you stand up from bed without reaching for something to hold. The day you realize you haven't felt a cramp in weeks. The quiet joy of walking, confidently, steadily, joyfully. These aren't just foods, they're freedom in disguise. So what do you do next? Start simple. Roast some chickpeas for your afternoon snack. Add a spoonful of pumpkin seeds to your yogurt. Drop seaweed into your next pot of soup. Spread creamy avocado over your breakfast toast. You don't have to do it all today, but every small step you take becomes a stronger step tomorrow. Because what you eat today builds the body you walk in next week, next month, next year. And if this video helped you, if it gave you hope or an aha moment or even just a spark, please give it a thumbs up. It tells us you're walking this path with us. Share it with someone you care about, your friend, your spouse, someone who deserves to feel strong again. And most of all, subscribe to Senior Fit. Because here, aging isn't about decline, it's about discovery. We don't shrink with time, we rise with wisdom, and we walk forward together. So what's the first food you'll add to your routine? Tell us in the comments so we read every one. We'll see you in the next video, where every step brings new strength, and every bite brings you back home to yourself.